Let's travel back for a moment, back to the spring of 1922, out on the Canadian prairies, where a quiet but absolutely momentous decision was made. This is a story about that decision, a story of faith, of profound loss, and a conviction so strong that it led an entire community to leave their homeland behind.
And let's be clear, this wasn't a departure born out of anger or hate. It was something much more complex, much more sorrowful. These families were literally saying goodbye to a country they still loved, a place they genuinely considered home, all because their core principles demanded it.
You know, it all started when the snow melted early that year. So picture this. It's late April, 1922. The roads are just mud, the fields are barely waking up from winter, and this massive, life-altering change is already quietly in motion. A decision had been made. It was final, it was deeply personal, and you could feel it rippling through every single household. We're not talking about a few families moving away here. This was the uprooting of an entire community. And everywhere you looked, the signs of leaving were just plain to see. I mean, just imagine. In farmyard after farmyard, these wagons stood loaded. All the tools of a life's work, plows, harnesses, crates, all packed up. But they weren't being prepared for planting. They were being prepared for leaving. It was this quiet, powerful sign that there was no turning back.
And it wasn't just what you could see, it was what you could hear or what you couldn't hear anymore. The usual sounds of the farm were replaced by the sharp call of an auctioneer. The livestock, the very heart of these farms, was being sold off, often for pennies on the dollar.
And the homes themselves, the laughter of kids, the chatter around the kitchen table, it was all just fading. Windows that were once lit up at night were now dark and shuttered. A deep silence was falling over places that had been absolutely overflowing with life.
So, what does it actually cost to just start your entire life over from scratch? Well, for these families, the price was nearly everything they had. We're about to look at the just immense material and emotional cost of following their conviction. Look at this list. You see the mix of the practical and the deeply personal, right? Plows and harnesses, those are the tools of your trade. But a kitchen table, generations of family furniture, that's where memories live. And they had to part with all of it.
This statement is so stark, but it says everything. Think about that. There was no storage unit, no, we'll send for it later. If it couldn't fit on the train, it had to be completely removed from their lives. The finality of that is just staggering.
And this is the image that really gets me. This wasn't just one family having a bonfire. You could look out across the huge, flat expanse of the prairies and see plumes of smoke rising from every single horizon. Each column of smoke was another family saying goodbye to their past.
So after you give up almost all your worldly possessions, what could you possibly have left to take with you? Well, the answer wasn't something you could pack in a crate. It was the one thing that was truly theirs to keep, their faith.
And this was the moment, the spiritual climax of their whole time in Canada. The church was overflowing. People were standing in the aisles, they were lining the walls, the wooden benches were groaning under the weight of an entire community gathering together for one last moment of shared strength.
And right here, this is the heart of their resilience. Bishop Dyck's sermon wasn't really about loss at all. It was about what was constant. He was reminding them that even though everything in their world was changing, their home, their country, their future, the foundation of their faith was unshakable. That was their anchor. As they all sang their final hymn, you can just imagine the sound. The entire church was basically singing a single collective prayer. Take thou my hand, O Father, and lead thou me. It was this powerful admission of their own uncertainty, but also this profound declaration of trust in what was to come. Okay, so we're shifting now. From the quiet, solemn feeling of that church service to the noise and raw emotion of the train station. This was it, the final, irreversible moment where their decision became a physical reality.
Now, it's really important we understand what this emigrant special actually was, okay? Don't picture a normal passenger train. These were basically boxcars, the kind you use for cargo, but with rough wooden planks thrown in for benches. The conditions were as basic as it gets, which really tells you this was a journey of necessity, not of comfort.
Let's just walk through these final moments. You can almost feel the tension building. The hurried goodbyes on the platform, families scrambling into those crowded cars, and then that sound. The long, low whistle of the train, cutting through all the noise, the sound of finality.
And right in the middle of all that chaos, with hundreds of people crowding the platform, we get this incredibly personal moment. Bishop Dyck's last words to one of the men, Jakob Friesen. It's not just some generic blessing, it's a direct, personal instruction, a reminder that this whole journey is a spiritual one.
And then the train lurches forward. It's moving. The platform, the town, the faces of everyone staying behind. It all just starts to blur and fade away. We're now in the very first moments of the journey, where the world they've always known gives way to a completely unknown future.
Inside that boxcar, once the storm of emotions at the station starts to calm down, a new sound takes over. It's that rhythmic clack, 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 clack of the wheels on the track. Steady, constant. It's like the new heartbeat of their journey south.
Imagine looking out the small opening of that boxcar. You're seeing the landscape literally change before your eyes. Behind you is the past, that flat, familiar prairie land they had worked for generations. And ahead of you, the future, just brown earth and a vast, open, and totally unknown sky.
So after everything they lost, everything they left behind, what was actually left? Well, Jakob Friesen really says it all right here. It wasn't just blind hope. It was a deep, solid belief that their faith would lead them to a new home, and that they weren't making this journey alone.
And really, it leaves us with this pretty profound question, doesn't it? When you leave the actual soil, the houses, the land itself behind, what even is a homeland? This story seems to suggest it's something more. Maybe it's a collection of memories and beliefs and a shared faith that you can pack inside your heart and carry with you absolutely anywhere you go.